All right, welcome to Chat UFC. I have a instructional video that I want to do for people that bet parlays, and that is what a lot of the gambling community has become. Is everyone just bets parlays? But I do want to give a little bit more information because I think with now how popular sports betting is, there is not much out there about what a parlay actually is and how it relates to just betting straight up. There are times where parlays are useful, and there are times where it is going to cost you your entire bankroll. If you are betting parlays smartly and you're using actual technique to get the most value out of them, they're great, especially in the UFC where lines can move significantly over the week. If you're getting parlays in early, it's fantastic. If you're just randomly on, like today, you're just putting in a bunch of parlays and hoping they hit, most likely you're getting the worst lines. The lines have already moved significantly. Most people bet heavy favorites in parlays, etc. So I'm going to run through this. This is something I just put together. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been using spreadsheets to calculate odds and figure out, probability, implied probability on the line. I've learned all this through also playing poker. A lot of that is implied probability. There's a ton of math that goes into betting on sports. I don't take away from the fact that you can have gut feelings. You can, all of that. I believe in all that woo-woo too. But start with the math. Math itself is woo-woo. So math is a beautiful, beautiful language, and it will tell you the reality of the situation. So here we go. Let's jump into this. First thing I want to go over is just the basics of parlays. How do they work, based on the odds? So let's start here. I put together 4 fighters in next week's fight. So I'm sure there will be many parlays with these 4 fighters in them. And let's go through it. So Grant Dawson, minus 310. So if you bet $100, you are going to get returned to you in profit $32.26. Return to your account will be $132.26. Pretty simple, right? So on the next one, we're going to go, okay, Renato Moicano. So let's say you did a 2-team parlay with Moicano and Grant Dawson, a minus 310 and a minus 215. When you are doing the parlay, essentially what you are doing, and if you were to do a mechanical parlay, which is essentially rolling over your profit into your initial bet and placing on the next one, this is how it would break down. You go 100 on Grant Dawson, it returns to you $32.26. That returns $132.26. Then when you place a parlay, you are essentially placing the $132.26 on Renato Moicano at minus 215, and it's returning to you $61.52. So you are making a wager of, when you place a parlay, you are making $132.26 wager because you would have had this money just returned to you, and that would now be in your account. What you're essentially doing is taking all that money and placing it on the next fighter, and that's the amount that you get back, and this is the return. So when you're placing a 2-team parlay on Grant Dawson, Renato Moicano, you are getting $93.80 back on a $100 bet. You place 100, comes back 132. You place 132, comes back 193. You placed a $100 bet, you got 193 back. Your profit was $93.80. Decimals are rounded. Okay, that's a 2-teamer. Pretty simple. But let's go 3-teamer. Next fighter here, you got Islam Makhachev. He's a minus 405. So you place a 3-team parlay. You go minus 310, minus 215, minus 405. What do we get here? Islam Makhachev, minus 405. You roll over the 193.77 and you place all of that on Makhachev. You are going to win $47.85. You are making a $193 bet, because if you would have stopped at the 2-team, you would have $193 in your account. So it may seem like you're placing a $100 bet to win $241, and the profit on that is $141. So the 3-team parlay is a plus 141. It's $100 to win $141. and your return is $241, but you are only winning $47 on the Makhachev pick. And that's just the reality. It's a mental trick. People, you want to see more of a return, so you add more pieces into the parlay. Now, maybe this is the worst possible example because Makhachev, I mean, I'm not even saying don't do that, you know. Makhachev may close at a minus 500. And this is where actually betting parlays becomes a skill and it becomes a useful tool in betting. And let's break that down. So we've broken down how the parlay works. Let's break down when you'd actually use a parlay. So here we go. Let's say you believe through your projected probabilities that Islam Makhachev is a 90% chance of winning. And the implied probability of a minus 405 is 80.2%. Well, let's go. Okay, I think the line is going to close at minus 500. Okay, so the line is going to go up. Right now it's minus 405. Now, I don't want to put $405 to win 100 on Makhachev. I want to combine him with some other fighters that I also believe the line is going to go up. That is the key. If you are just randomly throwing, oh, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy, but then the lines go down, you have now lost value, and over time, your bets will not be profitable. So you have to believe that, let's say, Grant Dawson's going to go from a minus 310 to a minus 400. And Renato Moicano is going to close at a minus 300 based on my implied probability here. So if you believe that, then it is wise to put in a parlay because your parlay at the previous numbers will pay out plus 141. Now, let's say you were to bet later on a parlay at Dawson at minus 400, Moncado at minus 300, and Makhachev at minus 500. You are now going to get paid out at even money. So you have lost 41 points of value on this line because you didn't parlay it. You did maybe a mechanical parlay and you waited till the fight night and you went, okay, now I'm going to bet 400 on Grant Dawson to win 100. And then you go to the next fighter and you place 300 on Moncado to win 100, et cetera, et cetera. Or you parlay them all together and you're getting plus 100. You're getting even money instead of getting the additional $41 on the $100 bet you placed. That is the value of parlaying early. However, in most cases, people are not doing that. They are just randomly selecting fighters that they like on the night of the fight, sometimes taking the worst odds of it. You've already got Makhachev at minus 500 and Moncado at minus 300 and Dawson at minus 400. You parlay it, you get even money. You lost 41 points of value, and here's the kicker. Let's say you believe that Makhachev only has, and now this is just, obviously Makhachev is incredible, but let's just say you believed he had a 60 or 70% chance of winning, right? And the odds are here at a minus 405. The implied probability of those odds is 80.2%. You are getting, if you believe he has a 70% chance, which is all you're doing when you're betting sports. What's the probability? What's the odds? I'm finding the difference and I'm betting on it. If you're not doing that, you're not going to win long term because you can just guess. And yes, you can say, oh, well, he's going to win. Okay. How many times out of 100 is he going to win? If you don't figure that out, then it doesn't matter if he wins 7 out of 10 times. If you're betting him at minus 405, you need 80% to break even. You're going to lose 10% long term betting fighters over their implied probability. It's just like in poker. It's like if there's no money in the pot and you have a flush draw and you're just betting the flush draw, but you're not getting enough money based on your probability of hitting the flush draw. If there's not enough money in the pot, then over time you lose money. And that's, it's the same theory here. Math applies to all. Okay, now let's go into where betting parlays can get you into trouble and why it is not smart to bet a parlay. So let's say here that this is your projected probability of each fighter. You believe that Grant Dawson has an 85% chance, Moncada has a 75, and Makhachev has a 70. Again, this is not, I'm not saying these are what they are. I'm just giving an example so you can see what I mean. So this is your projected probability. This is the implied probability. You have a 9.4% advantage on Grant Dawson, 6.7 on Moncada, and a negative 10.2% chance on Makhachev. The fight order is Dawson, Moncada, Makhachev. Here's where the flaw is. Your smallest bet you are placing in a parlay is your first bet, the 100 to win 32, which will return you 132. Because your next bet in the sequence is 132 on Moncada and then 193 on Makhachev. So unless the order corresponds with your probability predictions, which almost never does it, you're placing significantly more money on a negative implied probability than you are on the highest positive probability of Grant Dawson. So you're placing your smallest bet on your most confident, and you're placing your largest bet on the least confident when you compare the implied probability to the projected probability. And that's where people run into trouble. Your largest bets, because you're just wrapping into a parlay, which it is this. This is what it is. You are putting 193 to win $47, but there's only a 70% chance. And over time, that bet is going to lose you money. Just the math. So that's where you get into trouble. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit, if you're not familiar with math or you don't like math, this is probably, a little bit complicated, but it is that simple. When you do a parlay, you are rolling over the money, and that's what you're betting. So in your third leg of your parlay, where you have the least amount of implied probability differential, you actually have a negative 10, you are placing your largest bet, and where you have your highest probability differential, you are placing your smallest bet. And that intuitively is how you're going to lose over time. Okay, so that's basically our recap of parlaying. We went into an intro on how parlays actually work, the math of how they actually break down. We went into when you would actually use a parlay strategically to your advantage. And then we went over probably the more common, but the disadvantage of using parlays and the traps that people can get into. So if you like this video, give it a like. Give it a comment if you have any questions about it, or if you want to go over the math at all, or something didn't make sense. I'm very active. I will answer your questions. You can also follow me on Twitter, chat UFC bets. The link is in the bio on the channel, but feel free to reach out. And for sure, be careful with your parlays, be smart with your parlays, and understand what you're getting into and where you can use them to your advantage, and when you may just want to place a straight up bet. And good luck to everyone. It's a new year. We got the first event tonight, UFC Vegas 101. Good luck to everyone. Hopefully everyone wins and you do well. I'm always happy to hear people winning their bets. That's what we're here for. And follow my content. Give it a like, subscribe. I'll see you at the window.